Thank you, and good evening. Okay, I want you to think back 3 weeks ago to when we first arrived here today and be ready. Be ready. Are you ready? Here we go. Now, I know some of you weren't, all of you weren't here then, so we're going to try that one more time. Awesome. Great job. My name is Dennis Gampa. I'm the conference chair for this week and a member of the committee that put this all together. Very happy to be here. So nice to see you, all you wonderful folks, and I have been encouraged to take a picture. So everybody get ready. I think in the back there, I think you guys blink, but that's okay. Before we get started with the festivities, ask you to do me a favor. I know I have personally met some wonderful folks here at Philmont. Anybody agree with that? Yeah. So some of you are here tonight that fit that category, but a lot of folks aren't that fit that category as well. I'm sure you have that same feeling for folks that you wish could have made it this week. Am I right? All right, so I want you to just take a minute, think about it, wish them good, best wishes, and we'll continue on, and I'll see if I can get this microphone fixed. Apparently it's got something going on. So just for a minute, take a break. All right, thank you. So right now it's my pleasure to introduce Camden Mackin. He's a Stars guy? Stars? All right. And a member of a crew and troop 565. He's from Round Rock, Texas, and he's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Right, Camden.
Audience attention, Scouts attention. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
Wow, it's kind of cool to get a room full of scouts and tell them to help with the Pledge of Allegiance. It just happens. You may be seated. Thank you. I've been asked to make one special announcement. Who won an item in the silent auction across the street? If you got an email, you would have gotten an email that you won if you did. So, but the good news is we raised over $20,000 for the scholarship. And we got some new treasures, and lots of good stories to go with those as well. I'd like to introduce Chaplain Mark Sagers to kick this off, Mark.
Please prepare yourselves in the manner you're accustomed for prayer. Lord God, creator of all things on heaven and in earth, we are grateful for the many blessings that we have. We're grateful for this place that we call Philmont, and for the many people who for many years have helped make it a place to change lives and to bring miracles about. We're grateful for the individuals that will be honored today for their many years of service and for the things that they have contributed to the training center. We're grateful that we might be able to be here this evening to celebrate the 75th anniversary. And we ask thee to bless those who are working at the training center now, that they will be able to continue the legacy of providing great training and other experiences for the families that come. We ask thy blessing upon the food, and we're grateful for it, that it will nourish us and strengthen us and help us in the things that we do. And this we say in thy holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Mark. Appreciate that. So during dinner, we're going to keep playing the video that was up here earlier. Lots of great photos in there. Probably some of you are in them. I know, as every once in a while I caught somebody going by that is sitting in here. So cool to see that. Some of the images have not been seen for a long time. The video is put together by Mark Griffin and his team, and it's really pretty cool. So keep an eye on that. If you run out of things to say to your neighbor and you're waiting to politely start on your tiramisu, hold on, check the video. And then after dinner, Rick Braga will come back up and continue as master of ceremony. So just the last word for me as the mayor of Philmont. Thank you for a great week this week. It really was a wonderful week. So probably some of you are wondering who gets to eat first. So where's Mrs. Price? She's been giving me a bad time. No, I'm sorry. We're gonna start with table 1, and we're just gonna go down the line here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and if you would at least wait till all the black tablecloth people have food, and then continue on from there. Okay. Any questions? Good. Let's go. Table 1.
Backup, just in case I knew you noticed. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Get timed out as well.
Yeah, so. All right, the microphone's off.
Blue line on there. somebody will need to turn that back on then.
Yeah.
And switch that. If you turn it off now.
Yeah, I'm gonna help him.
And then turn it back on just enough to turn it off once it's.
So that'll be ready to go. That'll be ready to go when he's ready.
And he knows how to manage that.
Yeah, I told him I'd come up with him when he's ready.
Okay.
To do that, so.
That sounds good. So, here we go. No, I think Andrea will. I'll be over here on the piano when she finishes out this one. You make PTC chair. So you will follow Anna, but we'll follow. Isn't it amazing how that works? I can tell you that I did that at a business professional meeting, and the whole place quieted down. I mean, once a couple of people got the idea, it worked. So scouting moving itself out into other areas. What I'm going to start with is somebody who needs no introduction. But of course, I'm going to give a brief introduction anyway. The one person in the room who knows everything about Philmont on this side of the road and has held, wow, thank you. I was trying to stay away from that, but I guess the video needs that bit of sound. But I would like to introduce the new general manager of Philmont Scout Ranch and formerly the director of PTC, Andrea Watson.
Great, thank you very much. It's awesome to be with all of you this evening. Wow, this is an intimidating audience. I speak in front of a lot of people, but they're not normally people I know as well as all of you, so this is really an honor for me. So tonight, for me, being surrounded by all of you is really something very special. I'm going to see if I can fix this. Hold on. How's that in the back? Awesome, thank you. It's really an honor to be with all of you tonight to celebrate the 75th anniversary. And for all of us, I think it's a place unlike anything else in the scouting movement. And one that all of us can attest to has shaped lives, including most of us in the room this evening. It's also built leaders and strengthened families for generations. I also want to call out for most of us, this is not just a celebration of an anniversary. It really is for us a celebration of legacy, of leadership, and of course, family. From the very beginning, Philmont was imagined not just as a base camp for rugged adventurers. Not everyone knows that. In fact, in Wade Phillips' early comments, he wanted Philmont to be a university of the outdoors. He felt like this land, including his home, the Villa Philmonte, would benefit the entire scouting movement. And he saw here, on this side of the road, Philmont as a place that could be a place of reflection, of leadership, and a place like other parts of the operation would ever be able to train folks who Philmont Training Center can train. Even in the earliest brochures, as you look at the Filter and Rocky Mountain Scout Camp, back in 1939, it was clear that training leaders was part of the plan. However, it took a while. It wasn't until 1949 when Chief Scout Executive Arthur Shook revived the idea that that dream became a reality. He did so in part because Wade Phillips reminded him, weren't you going to do that? Which I respect Wade, by the way. That is awesome. So, finally that dream began to take shape. In fact, by 1950, the first formal national conferences were held here in the Villa Philmonte and in tents nearby. In those early days, just under 400 scouts and scouters attended. And the next year, it didn't take long to realize this was going to take off. And permanent facilities began to be added. And the Philmont Training Center was officially born. From folding chairs, some of which I think we still have. Because I saw some photos, and I swear there are some of those in that craft center, so I'm going to check on that. But from folding chairs and chalkboards to what today has become a national training hub, the Philmont Training Center has welcomed hundreds of thousands of people here to Philmont Scout Ranch. Council K3s, commissioners, camp directors, program directors, advancement chairs, cub masters, scout masters, and volunteers of every single kind. They come here to wrestle with big questions. They come here to imagine new solutions. They come here to learn best practices and to challenge assumptions within scouting. And they take home more than ideas. All of us can relate. They take home a renewed sense of purpose. However, I would say that even in the earliest days, Philmont was never just going to be about adult training. It was also going to be about families. Wade Phillips himself understood the magic of these mountains, and he saw the joy that his own wife, his daughter, his son had here, and he wanted other families to have the same experiences that his family had had here on the ranch. He knew that strong leaders are shaped by strong families, and that scouting could be a shared experience, not just a solitary one. And so, from before the first conference even began, plans were made to ensure that family members would be part of the plan. Spouses and children would have their own Philmont experience. It was a very radical idea at the time, and it didn't take long, however, for family programming to become the heart of the PTC experience. In fact, if you look at old issues of Boys Life and of Scouting magazine, you will hear them call PTC the Philmont honeymoon. I was going to mention that to our new marketing director, just something to think about for 2026. And if you look at some of those same brochures and same magazines, you would see things you see today. They might look a little different. Some of you, I think I talked to this week, we used to do square dancing. Obviously, you were more coordinated than I was in 2000 when I came on staff, when we moved to line dancing. Day hikes, horseback rides, picnics, and crafts. Many of the same traditions we enjoy still today here were very first part of offerings here in Family Program. Of course, I think one of the best parts of Philmont is it continues to evolve, and the Philmont Training Center is not unique to that. Over the decades, the Philmont Training Center has added classrooms, cabins. We've even changed the names of the family program groups a few times. We went from chalkboards and overhead projectors to Wi-Fi and Zoom. And in 2019, we even launched a new program for the National Scouting Movement called Family Adventure Camp, offering glamping, kind of made some people nervous, guided excursions, and new ways to enjoy Philmont together. I would tell you that initiative and several others have not replaced Wade Phillips' vision. Instead, I think it reaffirms what he felt, the truth, and he knew so well, that again, families grow stronger through shared experiences in the outdoors. However, you can think about all the things that have changed. If you were here on Monday night and you saw Western Night, it would look like it did in 1952, right? The same things that brought us together, the music and Western Night and laughter. Families still gather on the benches on the villa lawn, swapping stories, watching the New Mexico sunset. And still, at the center of it all remains the Villa Philmonte, just as it did in 1950, a symbol of legacy, of generosity, and of connection. Tonight, I hope all of us, we honor the early years when course outlines were handwritten long before computers came into existence, when staff would stream lights between cottonwoods to guide families home after evening sessions. We honor the faculty, we honor the family program counselors, the registration teams, the hospitality staff, the national volunteers, and every person who has made this place feel like Scouting's home for learning and connection. We also honor the alumni who have returned year after year, not just for a course, but for a feeling. When you come and you want to feel how Philmont makes you feel, something you cannot find anywhere else. Most of us have tried, and we have failed. I feel as you think about those things, you think about a chance to remember why we serve in Scouting and to reconnect with others and believe in this work. My dad used to always say he would come to Philmont to get his batteries charged. He would go home charged up and he'd have to come back again the next year to get another charge. So tonight, as you look around the room, it has been humbling to see so many friends over the generations that have served, generations of scouts, leaders, staff, and families. I am reminded, I hope we're all reminded, that the Philmont Training Center is more than just buildings, and it's more than just conference schedules. It's a place where people become strong leaders, families become stronger, and purpose is felt in ways that no presentation, PowerPoint, meeting agenda, or training manual could ever capture. I hope all of us, at least for me, I think about that the next 75 years won't be defined just by the programs that we offer or the courses that we teach, but by the people who gather here and the place and what they take home with them. Philmont, I'll quote a former director of program here who's sitting in the audience, who used to always say that Philmont is just a pile of rocks. right? It's the people that make Philmont special, and that absolutely is true here at the Philmont Training Center. For us, over the next 75 years, we become the stewards of this vision. We are the ones who will carry forth the values that Wade Phillips and Arthur Shook and so many people before us started. We'll take the values, ideally, the things that we learn here, and I think that is always a part about the Philmont Training Center. It doesn't end here, right? It starts here. When volunteers come, when families come, it is the beginning of their journey, it is not the end. That we take these values into our councils, our camps, our communities, and our homes. And I hope that each of us remembers the quiet power that this place has to inspire, to connect, to renew. I hope you felt that this week like I have in a new and special way, especially as we gather together to make this big celebration. As James E. West, Scouting's first Chief Scout Executive, once said, he said, "Scouting is not an abstraction. It is a thing of the spirit." And I think this place, the Philmont Training Center, this family gathering ground, this special pile of rocks, is where this spirit that he spoke of is rekindled again and again and again. Tonight, my job, I hope, was to tell you on behalf of all of us here at Philmont Scout Ranch, thank you. Philmont would not be what it is, Philmont Training Center would not be what it is if it wasn't for you walking along this trail alongside of us. Many of you who blazed the trail on behalf of Philmont Training Center for decades and have made a difference in lives that you will never know. So happy anniversary of PTC, and as we've been saying, I hope all week, here's to the next 75. Now, as most of you know, Amy Hutcherson has joined the Philmont team and is the new director of the Philmont Training Center. If you've seen anything this week, I hope from Amy, I know you've noticed what I noticed immediately upon her first visit here during her interview was strong leadership, a deep scouting experience, and most importantly, a real love for the Philmont Training Center. She's already making an impact, and we're excited to see what she does next. So it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage, Amy Hutcherson.
Thank you so much, Andrea. I just want to start out by saying a huge reason why I want to be here tonight. This is a dream of mine, is all of you. Met many of you here at Philmont, and also too, Andrea Watson, Shelley O'Neill. What an amazing place to further my career and support such an amazing mission here at Philmont. So I feel truly blessed just to look out across the crowd and say, oh my gosh, everyone in this room has a deep connection and a strong love for a place that is my new home. I can't even find the words some days to think, wow, this is a dream of mine. And I'm so thankful for all of you. I definitely am looking forward to blazing more trails. Moving forward, we got a lot of trails to blaze, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. As Shelley always tells me, we're gonna have so much fun. So thank you for all the warm welcomes, and it is now my pleasure to introduce our Philmont Training Center Chair, Chuck Walnick.
Well, good evening. It seems like yesterday, actually October of 2023, that Danny Tucker, the manager at that time, says, Chuck, it's going to be the 75th. I think we ought to get ready. And we charged each other to come up with a superstar, all-star committee to put this together. And I want to introduce you to them. As I mention your name, please stand. Our goal was to, well, we'll get into that. For the chair of this event, Rick Braga. Rick, would you step forward, please? And remain standing. We had Mark Snett. Mark, please stand. Mark was our Philmont historian, and believe me, a year and a half of understanding the history of the 75 was a real education to me, and the findings of the individuals that have been involved for the 75 years was a story to be told at one time. Nancy Farrell and Joe. You could call her an administrative assistant, whatever. She was the heartbeat of the committee. the regulator of what we should do, where we should be. You said that before, you didn't say that enough, whatever the case. Thank you, Terry. You did a wonderful, wonderful job. Dennis Campa. Come on. Did you have fun this week? He's the guy. And thank you, Dennis, for your talent and your full heartedness of scouting. It showed. Now, Jim Ellis isn't here, but he's responsible for some of the history items as well of the ambassador program. And then we have some friends that were added, as normally they would do. Mary Ann and Randy Price, where are you at? If you've been to the PTC and something has to be done, you don't have to ask because it's already done by either Mary Ann and Randy. I did conferences here for 12 years, and Mary Ann sure made me look good. Chuck, you need to be here. Chuck, you need to be saying this. Chuck, we need to do this, and so on. And I just stood there and smiled. And behind me was that lady and that gentleman, and I love them. They're just wonderful people. Supported by and directed by, it started with Danny Tucker, and Danny did a wonderful job, selected another career move, and off he went. In the meantime, Shelley O'Neill picked up that slack, and the leadership that she gave during that interim period was phenomenal. And then we had another void for a period of time. And Maddie, where are you at, Hawk? Oh, thank you, Maddie. Would expect nothing less her doing another task. She picked up the slack in direction and leadership until Amy came on board. And that was a fast track for her because her hair was on fire for about 5 months, I think, but she integrated very nicely to the program and continued to give us leadership. It's been a blessing to be the advisor, as they call it. I want to just be a team leader, and it's been so much fun and a great pleasure to meet all of you that I haven't seen for years, and we might do this again. And we won't wait 75 years, so thank you very much.
When you look around the room, you see a lot of people who have double-digit numbers with Philmont. Years of experience, number of treks. In the list, where's Danielle? She's here somewhere taking pictures. There she is. Oh, a tremendous amount of work was done in trying to coordinate with the Philmont Staff Association because as a result, talking with Mark, talking with Danielle and others, we've been able to this year, because of this special event, to bring Silver Sage Awards together with this new award that we're going to be presenting tonight. And Shelley's going to tell you in a minute about that, but just think about people who have gone above and beyond, and the prices, for example, you can't say enough. When you have an honoree who's not on the committee, and they show up on faculty day and say, what do you need to have done? Don't you need some of this and that, and can't we take care of that? And an amazing pair of individuals. Which reminds me that I hope that you've had an opportunity to look through your book because there's a lot more information in here than Shelley is going to be telling you and more detail on every one of the individuals. So with that, I would like to introduce Shelley O'Neill, and she is the Director of Business Operations. And what that means is the training center falls under her portfolio, and we're glad. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick, and good evening. In honor of the diamond anniversary of the Philmont Training Center, a special new recognition was created to honor individuals who have a significant, positive, and lasting impact upon the Philmont Training Center's first 75 years. The recipients of this prestigious honor were chosen by the 75th Anniversary Task Force in consultation with Philmont and Scouting America leadership. 59 individuals were selected for this inaugural class. And before we begin this presentation, I would ask the history lead, oh, there you are, of the 75th committee to make a special presentation.
Do it right here.
Okay.
You can stay here with me.
That's
Fine, good, okay. Thank you, Shelley. Amy, come on back up. A good friend of ours, a good friend of Philmont, he's going to be here in a couple weeks for faculty, Dave Savoni, made a plaque for us. And on behalf of Dave and the anniversary committee, we want to present this plaque to the Philmont Training Center of the list of the initial class of 59 members of the Trailblazers. So Amy, I'm not going to make her pick it up. I'll move it to the side so it's not blocking, but hopefully that will be in a prominent place where people can see it and remember those folks. And hopefully we'll add some more names before too long. So thank you, Amy.
Excellent. I thought it was such an honor to be asked to do these presentations tonight, and as I looked, I was overwhelmed reading these different bios as you have on your tables tonight. And I think about my own history. I was here in 1971. It's my first year at Philmont at the training center in the nursery. My 90-year-old mother wrote to me today that they called me Chipmunk because I had an overbite and I fell out of the crib in the infirmary and in the nursery, was taken to the infirmary. And so that's when my adventures began, and it was here at the Philmont Training Center. Subsequently, 3 more visits, different names that Andrea mentioned, programs. I think I was a Nina and a Muchacha, and the history that this place afforded that continues, and the legacy that I'm about to talk about is incredible, which also was passed on to a new generation and my children and continues. So I'm going to get started. 31 of the individuals or a family representative out of the 54 or 59 individuals were able to join us this evening. So you can please read about all of the others. I know what they said, it's longer. I probably have stories about all of these people, but I will hold back and try to stay on task. Our first honoree is Mark Anderson. Mark was Philmont's longest serving director of program, having that role from 1999 to 2017. His responsibilities included the training center beginning in 2009. Mark is one of 13 BSA employees included in the Plaza of Professionals at Rayado Ridge for his work with the establishment of the facility. He is a recipient of the Silver Sage Award for his service to Philmont. Rick Braga. Rick, a past member of the Ranch Committee and a longtime Philmont Training Center advocate, was the chair of the 75th Anniversary Task Force. He is a recipient of the Silver Buffalo and Silver Antelope and is a distinguished Eagle Scout. Chuck Binger. Chuck was the Philmont General Manager from 1987 to 1993. Under his leadership, the full-time director of the Philmont Training Center position was established. Chuck is represented by his granddaughter, Amy Ray Hall, a former PTC program director, and his grandson, Will. Great-grandson. Clyde Clark. Clyde was the training center manager from 1975 to 1984. Under his leadership, conference attendance at the Philmont Training Center grew from just under 3,000 to over 5,000 participants. He is represented by his son Clyde, his daughters Tina and Kathy, and his granddaughter Lisa, a former PTC staff member. Donna Cunningham. Donna was one of the lead founders of the Venturing Program and Training Center advocate. Donna is a recipient of the Silver Antelope and Silver Buffalo Awards. And right behind is her husband, Larry Cunningham, one of the founders of the Venturing program. Larry conceived, promoted, and led Venturing conferences, and before that, the Exploring conferences at the Philmont Training Center. Larry is a recipient of the Silver Antelope and Silver Buffalo Awards. Their 60th anniversary, wedding anniversary yesterday. Joey Fernandez, a recipient of the Philmont Staff Association's a recipient of the PSA Silver Sage Award for service to Philmont. Joey started his Philmont career as a Philmont Training Center dining hall manager in 1995. Jim Fish. Jim led the Senoras and Silverado Spouses program in the 1990s and early 2000s. His leadership made the Spouses program more than just an activity to keep them busy. He is represented by his daughter, former PTC staff member Holly Vanderleg, and his granddaughter Adeline. Janet Griffin. Janet has been involved in many aspects of PTC and is the originator of multiple PTC conferences. She was the leader of the Philharmonics for 5 years. Janet is a recipient of the Silver Antelope and the Silver Buffalo Awards. Mark Griffin. Mark was the director of the Philmont Training Center from 1995 to 2000. He is a distinguished Eagle Scout, a recipient of the Silver Antelope, is one of 13 BSA employees included in the Plaza of the Professionals at Rayado Ridge for his work with developing the facility and the courses offered there. And later this evening, we'll be receiving the Silver Sage Award. Sorry, I got to switch pages. Valera Henson. Valera was a seasonal staff for many years in the late 1950s and early 1960s. Under her leadership, a wing of the Polo Barns and the barn's central courtyard was remodeled to create a well-equipped small fry center and program for the youngest children of participants. She is represented by her son, John, who is a PTC staff member. Laurie Hunsaker. Laurie served as council president of one of the largest Philmont Training Center attendance councils for many years. He was a recipient of the Silver Antelope and Silver Buffalo Awards. Laurie is represented by his son Russ and his wife Rose. And keeping Russ up here, as council president in Massachusetts, and in any role he has served, Russ has been a vigorous advocate for the Philmont Training Center. He is a recipient of the Silver Antelope and Silver Buffalo Award. Dennis Campa, a longtime Philmont Training Center advocate and faculty member. Dennis was the first recipient of the Philmont Staff Association's Silver Sage Award for exceptional service to the training center. He is a recipient of the Silver Antelope Award as well. Bob Longoria. Woo! Bob has served as a member of conference faculties as a camp director at Rocky Mountain Scout Camp and Rayado Ridge for several years. A campsite at Rayado Ridge is named in his honor. He is a recipient of the Silver Antelope Award. Dr. Dan Miller. Dr. Dan was the volunteer Philmont Training Center medical officer for 16 summers. Additionally, he served on a conference faculty 6 times. Luann Mills. Luann served on the Philmont Training Center seasonal staff in the late 1990s and early 2000s. During that time, Luann was the manager of the Small Fry Center. She made small fry, when attendance was huge, special for children, to give them an experience that made them want to come back to Philmont. Ron Mills. Ron served on the Philmont Training Center seasonal staff in the late 90s and early 2000s. Ron was the Training Center program director for the largest family attendance summers to date. He established a high standard of educational family programs and motivational evening programs. Marianne Price. Where is she? Marianne has served on the faculty of numerous conferences at the Training Center over the last 25 years and is both volunteer and seasonal staff quartermaster, both in the summer and in the fall. One of the staff tent cities at Rayado Ridge is named in her and her husband Randy's honor. Marianne is a recipient of the Silver Antelope Award, the Silver Buffalo Award, and later this evening will receive the Silver Sage Award. Randy Price. Randy was on the staff of the National Junior Leader Instructor Camp for 6 years and a national advocate for the course before, during, and after. Randy has served on the faculty of numerous conferences at the PTC over the last 25 years and is both volunteer and seasonal staff quartermasters, both in the summer and the fall. Randy is a recipient of the Silver Antelope Award and later this evening will receive the Silver Sage Award. Julie Phillips Puckett. Julie is an active and supportive member of the Philmont Scout Ranch Committee and an advocate for the programs offered at the ranch. Her connection has been and is incredibly important to her, her family, and to the Philmont Training Center. Julie is also representing her parents, Chope and Virginia Phillips, and her grandparents, Wait and Genevieve. I ask that Leela Murphy, Julie's daughter and granddaughter of Chope and Virginia, come up as I present Elliot Chope and Virginia Phillips. Wait and Genevieve's son Chope and his wife Virginia were frequent visitors to the Philmont Training Center campus and Philmont benefactors. Chope was a recipient of the Silver Buffalo Award, and Chope and Virginia were the first recipients of the Silver Sage Award. And Wait and Genevieve Phillips. Of course, there would be no Philmont Training Center without their vision and the donation of the ranch and the centerpiece of the training center, the Via Philmonte. Rachel Rickliffs. Rachel worked at Philmont for her entire adult life until her retirement in 2009 as the full-time training center registrar. In that role, Rachel worked with 5 directors of the Philmont Training Center. Or 6. Mark Sagers. Mark served for 12 years as volunteer quartermaster at the training center and for 3 years was a Philmont chaplain. For 15 years, he worked with youth leader training courses conducted at the PTC. Scott Sorrells. Scott was the 12th National Commissioner of Scouting America. Under his leadership, the Commissioner Conferences have been the most consistent and largest attendance training center conference of the 2020s. Scott is a Distinguished Eagle Scout and the recipient of the Silver Antelope and Silver Buffalo Awards. He also has received the Bronze Wolf Award from the World Organization of the Scouting Movement. Chuck Walneck. Chuck has been a member of the Ranch Committee since the mid-1980s. Chuck has served as a chair of the Training Center Subcommittee twice and was the chair of the Facilities Committee during the major construction projects at the Philmont Training Center in the 1990s. He is a recipient of the Silver Antelope and the Silver Buffalo Awards. Judy Walneck. For many years, Judy served as a volunteer staff member with the Spouses Program, a regional advocate for the Philmont Training Center and the participation of Scouters' spouses, and an active participant in Philmont and Ranch Committee activities. And Andrea Watson. Among her many Philmont Training Center connections, Andrea is the only person who has attended the Training Center as a youth, family member, a parent, a conference participant, a conference director, a seasonal staff member, and as the Philmont Training Center director. She was the first female Philmont Training Center director and the first female general manager of Philmont. She is one of 13 Scouting America employees included in the Plaza of Professionals at Rayado Ridge. Excellent. Thank you.
So much for the new award. Now let's get to the peak of the moment, the award that recognizes service to Philmont in general, although it does include Philmont Training Center as well. And I'd like to bring forward Mark Stinnett, who is the chairman of the Awards and Recognition Committee for the Philmont Training Center, for the Philmont Staff Association.
Good evening.
I'm getting it.
Okay, that's fine. We can wait a minute.
See it paused.
This is what you have to do to get an award, Mark.
Thanks.
We put you to work. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Philmont Staff Association. I want to say a word about the association before we get to the awards. Many of you have served on the faculty of the Philmont Training Center, and if you did not know, as a member of the faculty of the Training Center, you are eligible to become a member of the Philmont Staff Association. That has been true since our association's inception 52 years ago. Tonight we are here for a presentation of the Silver Sage Awards. This is the 20th year that we have, actually this is the 20th anniversary of these awards, which we created in 2005. And it's kind of appropriate because that's also the year that we started, the Staff Association started a pretty ongoing relationship with the Training Center. That was the first year we held our reunion here, and we took a week, and we were the conference at the Training Center for an entire week. I will tell you from personal experience that the family programs here at the Training Center are awesome beyond words because my kids both did them, and they both came back to work on the staff. The Silver Sage Award was created in 2005 to recognize distinguished and exceptional service or contributions of an important and lasting nature, basically for the benefit of Philmont Scout Ranch or Philmont program, Philmont participants, Philmont staff. This is a very exclusive award. The first recipients who were chosen to intentionally set the bar high were Chope and Virginia Phillips. These are their portraits that hang on the wall in the Silver Sage Staff Activity Center over across the road on the other side of the road. And I have to say, I stood at this podium 20 years ago to present those awards. And I remember, and I had the honor of serving on the ranch committee with Choke Phillips at the time, and had gotten to know both he and Virginia well. And I remember, I believe it was about an 8-year-old or 10-year-old girl who Choke brought with him to stand up here on the stage and be here when they got their awards. And that was Leela, who is here with us today. So everything kind of comes full circle. This is one of the most exclusive awards in scouting, and I say that just simply to, I was sitting here earlier today trying to think of an example of that, and I thought about that Bible verse about rich people getting into heaven and having to go through the eye of a needle or something like that, and then I realized there's probably a lot of rich people in here, and I don't want to put any pressure on you guys. But the fact is, we intentionally limit this. We do a maximum of 3 per year now. The biggest we've ever done was 4, and we made a special exception that year when we dedicated the Silver Sage Staff Activity Center, which is named for this award. So there have been 45 individuals and 5 organizations to date that have received this. Tonight we're going to honor 3 more. The award medal itself, it's kind of an interesting story when we came up with this, because we came up with the name and thought, well, silver on the sage, you know, we wanted something sort of connected to the Boy Scouts Silver Awards, but we wanted it to be clearly about Philmont. And so we came up with the name Silver Sage Award, and we were all excited and went and talked to ranch management about it, and they said, well, we've got a group here now that calls themselves the Silver Sage Society, which is a bunch of older staff members on the ranch, and you know, we'll have to check with them and make sure it's okay. Well, they were okay with it. So we designed this medal. You can see it has the tooth of time, the New Mexico Zia sun, the scouting emblem, and a branch of a sage, which is, of course, the namesake for the award. And I'm sure all of you have figured out by now that the Silver Sage Award comes from the opening verses of the Philmont hymn. And if you think about that for a minute, then you think about we have, that's why the colors, purple mountains, azure skies. Tonight we're going to honor 3 additional recipients, and the first 2 are Marianne and Randy Price. I've had the... No. Sit back down. We'll call you when it's time. We have to talk about you a little bit first, okay? When you think about people who are volunteers, who have served the Philmont Training Center. And I will mention that we kind of waited on a couple of these people for a couple of years because we wanted to honor PTC related people in this 75th anniversary year of the training center. And it wasn't too hard to think about, when you think about, okay, who are the volunteers that stand out? Who are the professionals that stand out? The Prices come to mind first. You know, I've used this with another one of our recipients before, but I think of the Johnny Cash song, I've Been Everywhere Man. It seems like the Prices are everywhere man at PTC. They are here for conferences. I've had the pleasure of working with them for several national outdoor conferences that I chaired when they were our quartermasters, and Chuck or whoever said it earlier was exactly right. Go here, be here then. They know where everything is. They know how to get everything. If you have a question, they know the answer. And it's just impressive what they do. They've served as faculty members for courses for 3 decades. They've helped develop courses. They've served on the staff of courses. I may have the wrong emblem here because I think it was NJLIT that they were involved with. And I know that Marianne and Randy were also involved with both developing the course material for 21st Century Wood Badge and for the Philmont Leadership course that we have here now at Philmont. But I think the thing that stands out most about them is they are everybody's friend. They are everybody's helper. They are the quintessential volunteers who you want. When you want something done, that's who you call. No task is too small, and I found this picture that I think proves it. I'm not sure what this is, and I don't really want to know the story, but that gives you an idea. They are true servant leaders, and on behalf of the Philmont Staff Association, I did forget, it was already mentioned to have a camp named for them already, so it's a little hard to top that. But we're going to see if we can do that and give you a Silver Sage Award tonight. Randy and Mary Ann, would you please come up? Now, I've told them they have to say something. They don't want to, but I've told them that's part of it. And if you don't, we'll just take them back.
Is that a promise?
You have the floor.
Thank you.
What she said.
You know, where I've been, I've been pleased and impressed with the people that we have met. And it's been a challenge to try to live up to standards that you are presenting to us. We served on some jamborees, we served on other staff, and when we come back home, come back here, it is home, truly. We enjoy it, and thank you so much.
I did want to mention, because I forgot to do that a minute ago, that I asked for some help tonight presenting the awards from the winners of the Tallest Person in the Room contest, Dennis Campa and Mark Anderson. But they are also Silver Sage Award recipients, and I should recognize two others who are here tonight, Joey Fernandez and Bob Rickless. Well, I guess we don't have any more. Oh, no. I'll take this one. Our other recipient tonight is well known to everybody here, Mark Griffin. And, you know, it's hard for a professional to get this award. We typically look very hard at professionals because this is their job. What they do here. It's their job to be excellent. It's their job to serve Philmont. So we kind of look, when we give this award to professionals, at people who we think have gone above and beyond the normal standards of excellence for the job. Mark Griffin certainly fits that bill. Somewhere we tracked down this picture. I don't know if is this your first year at Philmont, 74?
No, it's my second track.
Oh, okay. I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that's you right here, isn't it? There we go. Okay. So, Mark has been associated with Philmont for a long time. And his first real contribution for PTC came before he joined the staff here. And that was in the early 1990s when this place was going to be closed. That was the plan, to close PTC. Mark was one of the people who advocated against that, and he was tasked with chairing a committee to look at the PTC operation, to make recommendations for changes, to see how it could be saved. It is not an exaggeration at all to say that Mark is a lot of the reason why we're all able to be here today, because of the work that he did chairing that group. And then he got hired to be the director of the training center starting in 1995 and put all those recommendations into practice, which he did. And we had some of our very highest attendance and best years at PTC during that time. It's not an exaggeration to say that Mark saved PTC, and that's been how a lot of us have known of him for a long time. But after he left, being the director of PTC in the year 2000, he didn't stop. I know from my own experience when I was chair of the National Outdoor Programs Committee and had a chance to work with Mark when he was then in the national office and director of training, every time I had a conversation with him, every single time, he was an advocate for training at Philmont. What can we do? What's another course we can do? How can we make the experience better? That never stopped, even after he was no longer working here. And of course, as has already been mentioned, he's the preserver of the history of PTC. He literally wrote the book, The Other Side of the Road, and he is recognized with the other professionals, as has been mentioned, down at the Rayado Ridge Leadership Camp. Mark is the epitome of, and of course he's always had Janet by his side there too. She's had a lot of hardware, I noticed, over the years, so we're trying to give him some tonight to make up for that. But Mark has been the best of both a professional and a volunteer for the Philmont Training Center. For either one of those categories, he has more than earned this Silver Sage Award. Mark Griffin, would you please come up here and let us honor you?
Those of you that go through my bill tours know how hard this is going to be. A lot of my 1995 stats back there. I'm so glad you're here. A bunch of them. If it wasn't for the Philmont Training Center, I would not be an Eagle Scout. I would never have met Janet. I wouldn't have 3 wonderful sons. I wouldn't have known so many of you. And I look at Randy Saunders, I look at Amy, I look at Ron. There's so many people in this room that changed my life. And I can't tell you how much this means to me. The Philmont Training Center is everything to me because of all those things and because of all of you in this room. And I'd love to start mentioning names. Rachel, we fought a lot. But for many years, it was just the 2 of us in there, making sure that 3, 4, 5, 6,000 people came to this ranch and got to join Philmont Training Center. So I cannot thank the Philmont Staff Association enough. I can't thank you, Mark, for this. It means so much to get this with Mary and Randy Price. It's very, also is unique, and I think Mark discovered this when he called me to tell me about this, that we live in the same town, and how unusual that is, what a coincidence that was. He didn't realize it until he called me and realized, because I had a Texas on him. But I want to thank you all so much. Julie, thank you for everything your family has done for me and for millions and millions of scouts. And it's an honor to be with this group and to be with your parents, Chuck and Virginia Wonderfuls. I love you all. I love everybody that's had anything to do with this. The things that some of you have said to me, even tonight when Barney said that our son was the best second baseman he ever coached. But to see some of those folks sitting back there that meant so much to my life. The best part of being the director of the Philmont Training Center was working with those folks and working with all of you in the conferences, and even working with Steve Willis and the guys on the other side of the road. But this place means so much, and everything I've done in scouting is because of this place. So thank you all so much. It is an unbelievable honor.
And I'm going to close with a glaring omission because we have another Silver Sage Award recipient here tonight who I should have remembered because I just saw her taking a picture next to my chair a few minutes ago. Mary Stuber, our Cimarron District Forester. Thank you all.
You probably have had an opportunity to get acquainted with those people at your table, even if you hadn't been acquainted with them before. But I'd like you to look around the room and take what you've just heard. Look around the room and try to calculate the hours, the days, the weeks, the months, the years, the commitment, the passion, the forgotten things, the things that didn't get done because Philmont was right up there at the top of your priority list. And then come up with a number. I think it's like that old credit card commercial. It's not only priceless, because we have prices. It is incalculable. And so as we come to the close of our meeting, I'd like to call the chaplain forward to have our benediction, and then I will introduce our song leader for the Philmont hymn.
Wow, this is an amazing time with amazing people in an amazing place. We have so much to be thankful for. So this time, if you would, join me in prayer. God, we thank you for this wonderful evening of celebration. During this season of independence celebrations, we're reminded of how much we owe to those who have gone before us. We've come together this evening to honor deserving Scouters, your servants, and to recognize their noteworthy years of selfless service. We also celebrate the ambitious plans for the days and months ahead. We give thanks for the Scouting program and each one who dedicates their time, talents, and treasure to helping others, for being your hands and feet in this important ministry. We ask for your guidance, strength, and wisdom to continue the work before us so more and even greater things may be accomplished in the days ahead. In all of this, we give you, the King of the ages, immortal, invisible, the only God, glory and honor forever and ever. Amen.
One more piece of business before we close with the Philmont hymn, and that is that after this is over with, we'd like to take some pictures. So we'll start with the Silver Sage recipients, and if they would come to the stage, we have any number of cameras in here, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of photos taken, and then have the Trailblazers and their family representatives come forward. At this point, I'd like to introduce the one person at Philmont that I always think of when we think of songs, our program director for decades, Mark Anderson.
Most of you know this. Some of you may not. So on the inside of the back cover is bigger print than trying to read it up there. Those at this table have that down pat. Now, one time I got up to sing this, and I started by going, Philmont, here's to thee. And that got me off for the whole time. So you'll know if I do that, just charge right on with Silver on the Sage as we start that. Would you please stand as we close with a Philmont hymn? This summer I had the privilege of visiting a number of backcountry camps, and after every program on the ranch, it ends with this song. Silver on the sage, starlit skies above, aspen-covered hills, country that I love. Philmont, here's to thee, scouting paradise, out in God's country tonight. Wind in whispering pines, eagles soaring high, purple mountains rise against an azure sky. Philmont, here's to thee, scouting paradise, out out in God's country tonight.
Thank you all very much. If you are here for the rest of the week, don't forget we're meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning at the Valero, 8:30 in the morning at the Valero to walk in the parade. And Prices and Mark, if you would come forward.